All right, good afternoon, everybody. In this exciting day, with all the things that have been happening since early in the morning, I was hoping that there would be a little more energy in the audience. So I'm going to repeat. Good afternoon. Yeah, this is it. Way to go. Thank you all very much for being here. I hope for those of you who have been around Stevens and those of you who have joined us in these events in prior years, you all agree with me that the Innovation Expo Day at Stevens is a very special day. It's inspiring and it's energizing. And of course, today is no exception. We started the morning with a fascinating talk in the Thomas Scholl Visiting Entrepreneur Lecture Series. The talk was given by one of our own highly accomplished alumni, Giuseppe Ansary, who was supposed to be here. Is Giuseppe here? He is here? Where are you? Oh, yes, that young man over there. Thank you very much. You gave us a beautiful start early in the morning. Thank you very much, Giuseppe, for your involvement and for a fantastic presentation. And of course, right after the presentation, 225 extremely interesting senior design projects went on display. And I'm assuming still many students, faculty members, family members, visitors are walking around and looking at these posters and prototypes and various types of presentations. These projects are a combination of intellectually interesting and challenging and inspiring. In some instances, really cute projects. And in many cases, projects that directly attack real-world problems. So it makes me incredibly proud with the level of creativity and problem-solving skills that is manifested through these projects. And I want to just say it in very simple terms. I'm immensely proud of our students and equally proud of their faculty advisors and mentors for guiding the students and bringing them to this point. I have no doubt that many of these projects that students are working on for their senior design projects will ultimately become solutions to some vexing, serious societal issues that we may be suffering from today, and sometime later we will find a solution to these problems in the work that our students are doing today. We are getting close to the culmination of the event now, and we are entering the final phase. I would call this the kind of the cherry on the cake, the Ansary Entrepreneurship Competition. In this competition now, from a very large number of projects, a panel of judges who will join us soon have worked to winnow down the number of projects to a very small number, and specifically, I think the number is 6 projects that will compete for the Ansary competition, and they will receive significant recognition and prizes with a sizable monetary value associated with them. We'll go through those details at a later time. But I do want to take this opportunity to offer my gratitude to the Ansary family. This is a family whose patriarch is a very, very good friend of mine. He has been a mentor of mine for many, many years. And now the entire family is very closely tied to Stevens Institute of Technology. They have helped our institution in a variety of forms. They are passionate about promoting a culture of entrepreneurship. They have been the beneficiaries of that culture themselves, and they've been extremely generous to the university. So it is the generosity of the Ansary family that has enabled us to hold this particular event and to provide the monetary prizes to the winners of the competition. I know that we don't have a representative from the Ansary family in the audience today, but this whole program is being live streamed, and I hope at least a member of the Ansary family is out there watching us, seeing this level of excitement and energy in the room, hearing the presentation by our wonderful students, and recognizing how much I, on behalf of the entire institute, thank them for what they've done for the university. And now on to introducing the Master of Ceremony, who's been doing this for a number of years, and he will do a far better job at the podium than I do. The Master of Ceremonies is Mr. Aaron Price. Aaron has served in this capacity, as I mentioned, for a number of years, and he's one of those extremely loyal friends and supporters of the institution. Just by way of brief introduction, Aaron is the CEO of Tech United New Jersey, which used to be called New Jersey Technology Council, the largest regional community of innovators, entrepreneurs, investors, and professional providers. Previously, Aaron served as the founder and CEO of Propelify, a media and events organization that united thousands of entrepreneurs who propel ideas into action. Propelify was acquired by Tech United in 2019. And together, Tech United New Jersey and Propelify provide the tools, resources, and community to empower entrepreneurs, innovators, and instigators to build a better future for all of us. Dubbed by the Forbes magazine as the SXSW of the Northeast, the annual Propelify Innovation Festival unites more than 8,000 innovators for talks, technology, exhibitions, drones, VCs, virtual reality, music, food and drinks, and more. Propelify was inspired by Aaron's award-winning New Jersey Tech Meetup, a technology and entrepreneurial community expert for the White House community with more than 7,000 members. Aaron Price has served as the technology community expert for the White House under the Obama administration, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, Fast Company, Entrepreneur Magazine, and the Wall Street Journal, to name only a few. A serial entrepreneur himself, Aaron Price has founded several technology startups, including DeliverU, eFordables, WeCraft, and LiveCube. Additionally, he served as the entrepreneur in residence at the New York City venture capital firm DFJ Gotham. A born entrepreneur, Aaron Price started his first commercial venture in high school after he was awarded a patent for a weightlifting device. So when he shows up, you will see he looks like a bodybuilder. Aaron Price lives in Hoboken with his wife and the startups of which he and his wife are most proud, their 2 daughters and dog Milo. Please join me in welcoming Aaron Price. Aaron, where are you? There is the man.
Thank you very much. Great to see you. Hi, everybody. How you doing? We need a little more of that love. Come on. How you doing? Next year, I have to get you the shorter bio, Nariman. Though I appreciate you reading the whole thing. It's great to be back here. Dr. Varvarden's absolutely right. I've had an incredible relationship with this university, which started before he began here. And as an entrepreneur for my entire life, I've really come to appreciate how much it means to be connected to the local university in your neighborhood, as well as what's going on around the state. And as I was thinking about some opening remarks today, last year I read a poem that we had generated by ChatGPT, which I hope you're paying attention to what's going on in AI, because I think there's a real opportunity for us in New Jersey there. But what struck me here actually was that relationship with Stevens, and in particular, the progress that this institution has made under Dr. Varvarden's leadership. And so I hope that you have been paying attention to not just the growth on campus, but the growth of the ratings and recognition around the world. When I've lived in Hoboken now for 18 years. Most of my neighbors when I moved here did not know this university existed. Now, not only do most people in Hoboken know, but most people around the country and many around the world are aware of the incredible activity that's happening here. So really, I just wanted to say congratulations. Thank you for this fantastic partnership. And how about a big round of applause for Dr. Farvardin. So, in case you are unaware, there has been a competition going on, and we've narrowed it down today to the top 6 finalists. We're going to bring out our judges momentarily. They've been scoring these companies virtually up until today, where they'll be judged on their live presentations. So without further ado, please help me welcome all of today's judges. Come on out. We've got Davis Akshmutz, Vivek Rajgaria, come on, show them some love. What are you doing? Quorum Nasir Gore, Juan Herrera, Winston Peters, Ozzy Lopez, Judith Sheft, and Catherine Skinner. We're just like, it's just a tease. They'll be back. Are the companies ready to go, Matt? Yes? Momentarily? I hope so. So each company is going to have 3 minutes to pitch, followed by a 5-minute Q&A from our judges. They'll be scored as we go. The scores in the past have been revealed if you've done this with us before. This year they will be kept secret, and we will reveal the winners at the end, who will be winning a cumulative $17,500, $10,000 for the first place prize, $5,000 for second place, and $2,500 for the runner-up. I started my first business in college when none of this kind of stuff existed. And so those dollar amounts and these kinds of activities are really what provide the fuel for entrepreneurs to have momentum and possibilities to build amazing businesses. So with that, I also think we owe an enormous round of applause, again, to the Ansary family for putting up this generous prize today. Now we good to go? All right. So, without further ado, the first company up is OTT Load Balancer. Can you come on out? So this is a very nerve-wracking thing. I'm going to be doing a lot of like, you got to clap for these people. They've been working a long time to be here. You got to show them some love. And whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Why does Fortnite keep crashing? How come the Financial Times takes 10 years to load? When millions of people connect, an application has to figure out how many servers it needs to handle all the connections and which server to route each person to. That takes over $85,000 in half a year to answer. 90% of tech startups fail, and 93% don't have enough cash to last 2 years. With stats like those, every second counts. When scaling is done right, the rewards are endless. Facebook started out in a college dorm room, and they've scaled up so far, Zuckerberg had to build a metaverse to keep going. But scaling is hard, and even Amazon can get it wrong. On Prime Day 2018, Amazon didn't have enough servers to handle user traffic, leading to a loss of $72 million in 1 day. The OTT Load Balancer helps avoid disasters like that by offering a plug-and-play solution to scaling. We're helping businesses scale by scaling their technology.
We're already live in production environments, serving requests in under 17 milliseconds. It's reliable and highly available, and you need that when downtime costs you money. 73% of small and medium-sized businesses report downtime costs of at least $10,000 an hour. We're targeting startups with high-traffic applications that need to scale. We have a potential 25,000 initial customers, and once established, we'll target large enterprise customers for a total market size of $3.9 billion by 2025. We'll release on GitHub, Docker Hub, add-on marketplaces, and provide a hosted solution so startups can scale fearlessly. That's perfect for us to reach early adopters like startups, hobbyists, and independent developers. Customers only pay for what they use. So we have a pay-as-you-go business model that works out to be $130 a year. We're planning to go to market in August 2024, and we aim to have 1,000 applications on the balancer by year 10, leading to $130,000 in yearly revenue.
Until we land our first enterprise support contract. Those can expect to net us $100,000 a year per contract. We won't immediately target large enterprises to give us time to build our brand. Judges, We need something from all of you. Davis, can you manage our finances? Karam, your connections with Verizon? Yes, please. Juan, mentorship on sustainable work practices would do us wonders. Ozzy, 39 years of tech innovation? That'll help us stay ahead of the competition. Winston, Vivek, Judith, entrepreneurial mentorship. Catherine, we want you to help us scale from 0 to 1. And for a cherry on top, 10s across the board and a $10,000 check made out to Team OTT. 6% of startups fail due to issues with tech, and our mission is to bring that to 0. Saving those startups will add $8 billion to the economy. So in times like these, save a startup, save the market, choose OTT.
Wow. I don't really know what to do with that. So anyone volunteer to go first? Yes. Grab the mic, introduce yourself.
Hi, Ozzy Lopez here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And just Ozzy, share which company you're with.
Stand up. Yes, hello everybody. I'm with Texas Instruments. I graduated Stevens in 1985. I started my own company in 2005 and sold it to Texas Instruments in 2009, and been with them as a distinguished member of technical staff, developing technologies 3, 5, 7, 10 years out before need is there. Thank you. So, okay, quick question. You're targeting startups, right? So startups have a lot of risks already. Why would they take a risk with you as opposed to somebody that's more established in this space, providing perhaps similar solutions? What's the compelling value to them?
So, part of being an entrepreneur, by definition, is taking an abnormal financial risk to start a business and hopefully multiply your money. We felt that this group, more than others, is more likely to take that risk on us because larger companies simply can't afford that risk. Healthcare companies losing access to EHRs, that could lose patient lives. Financial companies having downtime, that could lose millions in seconds. So we felt that because our technology is so new, we're using asynchronous Rust, only released in 2018, just aligned better with these startups. And yeah, Garson.
If I may add on to that, a huge part of our strategy is in building trust in developers. That's why we're open source, and that's why we're trying to target startups so that we can start to build that trust in the community and with our brand. So when people go into work and okay, we have this problem, they think of us first because they've used us, they know we're good, and that's the goal.
Next question. Yes, Judith, introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, I'm Judith Sheft. I'm with the New Jersey Commission on Science, Innovation, and Technology. We provide grants and support to early stage startup companies, non-dilutive capital, which is clearly something that I think could be of interest to you. I'd like to hear a little bit more in terms of what traction you've had. Have you been talking to developers? Have you been going to meetups like the meetup that Aaron had run to really interface with companies? So when you talk about having those 1,000 opportunities on the platform, you kind of know who your first set of customers are?
So we are in active development and our code base is available on GitHub. How many people are watching the repo? Just out of curiosity.
Watching the repo, maybe like 10 or so, but we have like 400 stars.
So we do have a number of eyes on our code base, on the load balancer right now. We haven't gone as far to actually attend those meetups quite yet, though.
Catherine.
Hello, I'm Catherine Skinner. I'm also a proud alum of Stevens, and I'm currently a partner in a global growth and transformation firm that works primarily in the consumer packaged goods industry. And my question for you guys is, you talked about wanting to establish your brand with startups and then maybe working your way to working with larger enterprise companies. So, but how would those companies see your offering as differentiated for them versus their current options? And how would you maintain that differentiation?
So as of right now, our load balancer accounts for application-specific routing requirements that, to my knowledge, no other load balancer does. The specific motivation behind the project was because no off-the-shelf load balancer would work directly with OTT proper. So currently, we have a technological advantage, and we hope to transition that into a customer service advantage.
I'm going to cut you off just because I know we've got one more question. We're going to run out of time. So, Davis, go ahead.
Cool. Thank you so much. Good to meet you, everyone. My name is Davis, one of the principals at Plug and Play. Plug and Play is an early-stage investment firm based out of Silicon Valley, and we invest in across 24 different verticals. And I'm super excited to be here and hear all the pitches, and thank you so much for your presentation. My main question is about maybe alluding to what was the previous question and maybe following up on that. A lot of startups choose AWS as one of their kind of cloud service providers, and there are many other cloud service providers already available. All of those, to some degree, provide load balancers already. So why would a startup choose your technology over AWS's load balancer? And how difficult for them to be to plug into your technology instead of using just AWS and what they offer?
So it is true that a lot of startups do use AWS, these big established cloud providers, but we're also seeing a trend in more smaller brands coming out and releasing easier to use platforms. So AWS is notoriously extremely hard to use. Engineers misconfigure S3 all the time, right? So being able to deploy on these other platforms where there might not be like a load balancer included would be very helpful.
Quickly, if a startup chooses to use AWS, can they still use your technology, or they only can do AWS's offer?
Yeah, they totally could. They could deploy their own instances of the load balancer using their own orchestration, whatever, or they could use the AWS add-on that we plan to have.
We are out of time, but I have one quick question, which is, do you think that the strategy that Christopher used to be very aggressive with the pitch is effective, or does it overshadow the presentation? Short answers only.
I think it overshadows the presentation.
Any other views? Yeah?
I love the enthusiasm, but you need to balance it with also the right delivery to what VCs or investors would expect.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. Well done. Next up, we have Neezy Does It. And judges, while we welcome the next company, if you could make sure you do your scores.
Yeah.
Got to clap them out. Come on, show them some love. Whenever you're ready.
How many of us know a parent or grandparent who struggles to walk due to knee pain? Knee osteoarthritis is a chronic condition that limits physical activity and lowers quality of life. Physical therapy is a critical step in the recovery process, but due to overbooked PTs treating 3 to 4 patients an hour, the standard of care is declining. With limited one-on-one time, physical therapists are in need of ways to increase their efficiency while maintaining the quality of their care. Hi, I'm Grace.
I'm Maggie.
I'm Jalen. And I'm Brandon.
And we're Neezy Does It, your therapy automation solution. Our mission is to empower physical therapists to treat more clients while enhancing patient comfort. Neezy Does It is an oscillatory knee stretching device that delivers grade 3 to 4 Maitland mobilizations, which are small stretches past the end of a patient's comfortable range of motion. Our device offers customizable options for stretch depth, force, temperature, frequency, and body type to ensure a pain-free patient experience.
Kneesy Does It is engineered to streamline therapy sessions by allowing PTs to set up patients in less than 2 minutes with minimal supervision during treatment. This helps to lighten the workload and also aligns with insurance billing requirements. As an FDA Class 1 medical device, our path to commercialization is expedited, which eliminates extensive testing costs and allows for immediate sales. Kneesy Does It is working closely with Atlantic Physical Therapy Centers on a 2-phase path to commercialization. In phase 1, we will introduce the Kneesy Does It to Atlantic PT practices and then refine the product based on customer feedback.
Anticipating 25% of the 40,000 PT centers within the US purchase the device, we project $14.5 million in revenue. Equipped with the Kneesy Does It, PT centers can expect to save $6,000 annually in labor costs. Priced at $1,500, it is expected to recoup its value within 70 working days. Transitioning into phase 2, we will move into the at-home market via a rental model directly to patients. Assuming just 1% of the 2 million potential patients who seek PT for knee stiffness enroll in our $300 program, we project $24 million in annual revenue.
By empowering patients to replicate therapy more effectively at home, we're solidifying our position as a trusted provider for at-home rehabilitation. In the future, Kneesy Does It plans to expand its scope beyond the knee, targeting other areas such as the ankle, elbow, and shoulder. This expansion aligns with our vision of revolutionizing the way patients engage in physical therapy. We are asking for $100,000 for a 10% equity stake to fund customer outreach and inventory expansion. Thank you for considering our proposal, and remember to take it easy on the kneesy with Kneesy Does It.
All right, judges. Go ahead.
Hi, folks. Let me introduce myself. My name is Coram Gore. I'm an attorney at Verizon. I lead the Emerging Tech and Partnerships legal team at Verizon. Stevens alumni, and also a former advisor to a Stevens startup that came out of this competition. So with that, I will start with a lawyer-type question, right? So from an intellectual property perspective, right, what is your strategy? What have you done? What makes your innovation distinct or different, differentiated from what is already out there?
Yeah, so that's a great question. What makes our product distinct from existing stretching devices on the market is the use of an elastic band to transmit force to the knee from the motor. All other devices on the market currently use a rigid connection to the motor, which is dangerous if the device malfunctions. And the elastic bands also provide a gradual force application that is better for patient outcomes.
Yeah, Vivek.
Hi everyone, I'm Vivek Rajgadia, been an entrepreneur at the optical communications and photonics industry, seeds of which were sown at Stevens. Presently, I'm president of Poet Technologies and setting up a venture in India. So thanks for all your pitches and all. It was great learning for me. So one of the things in starting up a new company is, and getting adoption, is resistance to change from the way things are being done existingly. So I understand there's a value proposition, but where have you seen in the physical therapy industry that a manual or the way it was being done existingly has moved to a more automated or semi-automated way that you're providing? Yeah.
So it hasn't moved there yet because our device is not on the market, but this idea was actually pitched to me by a PT at our partner company, Atlantic Physical Therapy. So this was their idea. They were having issues with their PTs not having enough time to treat patients, and they thought this would help them increase their efficiency.
Just to add on to that, I think for this treatment specifically, it takes 15 minutes for the physical therapist to manually apply the Maitland mobilization. And so I think to your point with automation and physical therapy, it's definitely going that direction because a lot of physical therapists are experiencing burnout from the high volume of patients that they're treating and also the physically taxing work of the treatments that they're giving.
Winston?
Hello, everyone. My name is Winston Peters. I'm the Program Director of Entrepreneurship at Manhattan College in the Riverdale section of the Bronx. Also a consultant with a management consulting firm called My Uber Life in New York City. My question to you is, you talked about the physical therapist aiding the patient in terms of putting on your product. Now, what is the experience for in your phase 2 for the at-home client? What is that process for them to onboard and learn how to actually use your process?
Okay, so we plan to have either donate or have at a discounted price give some of our devices to Atlantic Physical Therapy Centers. And that way patients can go into the clinic for a normal physical therapy session. They can then learn how to use the device, what exact therapy band is right for them. And that way, when we go to the at-home market, they can go rent the device for a couple of $100s a month. We can bring it to their home, and then they already know how to use the device, they're comfortable using it because they've previously used it in a physical therapy clinic.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, they would figure out the optimal settings to use while in the clinic during a demo of the device, and then use it at home from the prescribed settings.
I wanted to ask if you've looked at any federal funding opportunities through the SBIR, STTR programs, particularly like funding from the National Institutes of Health that might be particularly interested in helping further this type of device.
No, we haven't looked into those funding sources yet, but if you have any information on that, we would love to hear.
Great. We can talk, over cocktails, we'll talk about that.
We are out of time, unfortunately. Thank you. Had you ever heard the term SBIR? Has that ever come up? You ever heard that before?
Not in our research,
no.
Not yet.
I don't think most entrepreneurs know, which is why she's here. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Reminder to the judges to make your scores. Next up, we have SESMA 2.0, soft exosuit for patients with spinal muscular atrophy. Come on out. Let's give the judges 1 second, because I see some are still scoring. Make you stand there awkwardly. All right, whenever you're ready.
Consider for a moment a reality in which actions you may now consider easy prove incredibly difficult. Tasks as routine as standing up or sitting down, feeling nearly impossible. When most of us came here today, we sat down, and when this is all over, we'll get up and leave without a second thought. Now imagine 2,000 auditoriums this same size, full of people who don't share that same privilege. This is the reality for those living with spinal muscular atrophy. SMA is a hereditary disease which weakens the proximal joint muscles of the legs. That makes for nearly 1 million people worldwide who struggle every day with actions most of us take for granted. This begs an important question. How can we help these people? How can we enable them to live struggle-free and independent lives and counter the awful hindrances of SMA? Enter SESMA 2.0.
SESMA 2.0 is a novel device which reduces the effort that patients with SMA type 3 need to stand up. The exosuit consists of 2 cables which wrap around the patient's waist and legs to provide sufficient structural support.
You got it. Just take a breather.
The trick, a simple torsional spring which captures energy while the patient is sitting, and this energy is redistributed into the cables as the patient is standing.
And this enhances their quality of life.
Yeah, with an increased sense of autonomy and an increased quality of life.
Currently, over 800,000 people worldwide are living with SMA, and an additional 24,000 people are born each year with the condition. Now, assuming 50% of each cohort will purchase our product, that's 12,000 units that are produced and sold each year. Now, to account for the already existing SMA population, 80,000 units will be produced in year 1, with a 20,000 unit reduction each year until those 12,000 units are then steadily produced. Following our production model, we anticipate a revenue of $1.06 billion for the first 10 years combined, and an annual revenue of $30 million thereafter.
There are currently no other autonomous sit-to-stand devices that are as lightweight and unobtrusive as SESMA 2.0, making our innovation a revolutionary contribution to the field of assistive devices. Since we are a team comprised entirely of engineers, we seek a board director to provide mentorship and industry knowledge to help us both start production and enhance our business model in exchange for 20% stake in our company. With the head of business, we can focus on continuously developing SESMA 2.0 into a robust, industry-leading device with a multitude of applications that extend far beyond SMA. With your help, SESMA 2.0 can help our patients rise for generations to come. Thank you.
Well done. Juan?
Hi everyone, I'm Juan Herrera. I work at Madison Realty Capital. I'm also a Stevens alum, year 2000, so nice campus now. It looks very nice. So unlike my colleagues here, I'm not in the tech world. We work with a lot of real estate development groups that sometimes, believe it or not, shouldn't be doing real estate development. They have the money, they just sometimes don't have the knowledge. So being that this is a business and you're looking for a head of business, have you thought about if this project actually goes and becomes a real project, how you guys, since you're on the engineering side, would manage it, and what kind of roles do you envision for yourself?
Yeah, so absolutely, that's a great question, because obviously, as of now, we're sort of engaged in some of this planning with some of the more entrepreneurial side of things. Going forward, we have a pretty set next couple of steps that we would continue down. So initially what we plan to do is, in our current state, we've sort of demonstrated proof of concept of our device. We've demonstrated the ability of the device to, collect energy and release this energy to help our patients at the correct time. There are definitely some key improvements that need to be made prior to being able to bring this to market or even initiate patent approval process or even FDA regulatory procedures. So these namely include sort of developing a prototype that's a bit more realistic to the product that would actually end in our patient's hands. So this includes things like better materials for the mechanism design, and as well as a more comfortable enclosure as well. After this, of course, we want to immediately prioritize filing a patent application, since the single degree of freedom CAM mechanism that charges our spring and assists the users is really the most important novel piece of technology that we have developed. And lastly, after that, it is absolutely essential that we initiate FDA 510(k) pre-market approval as soon as possible, since this is a long and arduous process that will inevitably require a lot of revision and revising going forward.
I wanted to ask, what is the team thinking about doing after you graduate? Are you going to continue to work to do those steps that you had laid out as next steps along the commercialization journey?
Yeah, so I guess you could say it's largely dependent on the outcome of this competition in one way or another, but it's definitely something that we are passionate about, and we believe that this mechanism really fills a void in the span of medical devices that is really not being occupied by anything else right now. When it comes to stand-to-sit devices, you have a category of devices that are non-autonomous. You have your crutches and your canes and things like this. And then the other existing autonomous devices are extremely bulky and fully actuate the stand-to-sit movement, which what our product does is it allows people who have and retain some strength in their legs to sort of be enabled to do that movement once again with just a little bit extra boost. So that is an entire segment of need for patients that's not being filled right now. So we would absolutely be very very enthusiastic about bringing this forward.
Yeah, just to add on, there's been several people I actually met today during the expo itself that either had a relative that had spinal muscular atrophy, or just someone who had like an elderly, a grandparent, or just someone who had like a surgery and had lower mobility issues. Like, our market potential expands beyond just the patient with SMA. It expands to anyone with lower mobility issues and anyone with a spinal injury. And when you look at it in that case, it's multi-million. It's not just the over 800,000 or close to 1 million with SMA. And that's something that's really exciting to me because it's very personal. When you meet the people and you interact with them and you see the struggles that they're going through and you see the struggles it brings to their family, it makes me very enthusiastic, and all of us enthusiastic, to really move this forward and to see what we can make it happen with it.
Yes.
So, a quick question, and this is on the innovation side of it. And one of our judges asked you the question that, in hindsight is so obvious. Okay, so you are 2.0. What happened to 1.0? And what is the specific technical breakthrough that differentiates the 1.0 from the 2.0?
Absolutely. So SESMO 1.0, this is actually a continued iteration of a project from previous year's Senior Design and Expo Day. And what they did was they developed somewhat of a similar concept to us, but it lacked in several facilities. One that's really essential that we have sort of elaborated on and fixed is their design involved manual operation of various clutches and aspects of the mechanism, which is obviously not ideal for a user experience, especially given the fact that it's a very complex system of inputs. So what we have done as 2.0 is we have completely eliminated the need for any manual input from the user, and it is a completely autonomous process, both with regard to the changes that are happening in the mechanism and in terms of the detection of when somebody is fully standing or sitting down or fully seated as well.
We're out of time, so I'm going to have to wrap it up. So judges, if you can make your scores. Before you guys go, first, if you actually are going to pursue this as a business, the idea of giving away 20% to an advisor is way out of market, and it will make you seem out of touch and a bit naive, so reconsider that idea. Second, Jack, we've all been in your shoes. We've all been on stage, myself included, every one of these judges. So don't beat yourself up about that. I will give you a piece of advice. Rather than memorizing your script, which is very difficult to actually own when you deliver, write down a key word from each sentence and then build the story by trying to hit the next key word. And I don't know if you're not allowed to have index cards up here, but having that in your back pocket literally may have been helpful. But don't beat yourself up about that. We've all been there. Good job, guys. Please vote if you haven't. Judges, next up is personal guide belt. Come on out.
Hi, everyone.
Whenever you're ready. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'd like to tell you about a person named Attila. Attila is visually impaired and relies on a white cane to navigate his environments. And for the most part, this works out pretty well for him. Except there are a lot of really major issues with a white cane. It can't detect obstacles on the side, at the rear, or at great distance, or that come into the periphery at a really fast rate, like a random opening door, or a pedestrian coming at you, or a fast-moving bike. Millions of people across the world have to live with issues like this and have to deal with problems like this every single day, and there needs to be a solution that works beyond the limitations of a white cane.
There have been many attempts to try to resolve this issue, but many of them come at a high cost. For example, guide dogs can be very expensive and also come with other challenges in terms of caring and training them. Other wearable technologies that are in the same competing market also come with very high price tags ranging in the thousands of dollars, making them inaccessible to many. Clearly, there is a market demand for an affordable solution that works with the white cane to assist individuals with visual impairments while also helping enhance their ability to navigate surroundings.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jet.
And we are Personal Guide Belt. Our mission is to give our users an improved sense of safety and an overall heightened confidence to navigate their surroundings completely independently. To do so, we've engineered a wired belt which utilizes ultrasonic sensors and haptic motors in order to give our users data of the world around them that they can react to as quickly as they can.
Unlike the white cane, our device will provide users with awareness in all directions, not just the front. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, not just the front. Sorry, the personal guide belt will be more affordable than our competitors as our design is pretty simple and materials will be more cost efficient. We plan to launch a social media campaign as well as sponsor influencers in the visually impaired community in order to reach our target audience. You should ideally find our product in online retailers and at chain pharmacies.
We have the potential to help well over 100,000 people in the States and millions more across the world with this technology. Thanks to feedback given to us from our friends at St. Joseph's School for the Blind, we already have great ideas for where to next take our technology and to further innovate within our space. We're currently asking for $500,000 for a 10% equity stake in our company in order to assist in research and development and the beginning of in-house marketing and further research from there. With your support, we hope to give our users an overall greater sense of their surroundings and the overall safety to live a normal, confident life.
Well done. Ozzy first.
Yes, thank you. Quick question. Your ask was a $500,000, 10% equity.
Correct.
So your pre-money estimate is pretty high. How
That's
do you
correct.
justify such a huge pre-money valuation with no granted patents or anything, no revenue yet? Can you talk to that?
So part of that money would be going immediately to patents and copyright for us. We ourselves, we know our own expertise. We are not business professionals, and we know for a fact that through our own experience of asking through business professionals and our own advisory board that relying on others is the way to go. Unfortunately, a lot of time in the business world, that actually means asking for money to give to those people to actually get that advice to begin with. And
But for 10%, you're saying that your entity, your company's worth $4.5 million.
currently, right now, we're targeting 2,000 units sold within the first year, which would give us an overall revenue in the first year of around $500,000. We think that $500,000 would be a relatively good investment at the beginning that would be able to pay off for an individual within about 10 years' time.
We had one down here at the end first with Davis.
Thank you guys for the presentation. My question is, what was kind of the biggest obstacle that you ran into while developing this project, and how did you overcome this over the period of time?
Yeah, I'll take this one. We originally were going to use LiDAR sensors for our sensors, and there was very limited documentation on them. We got like kind of a cheaper model because we were focused maybe more on the cost-efficient side than like the functionality side. But then we pivoted to ultrasonic, and within a couple months, we made a lot more progress than we did in the 4 to 5 months that we were using LiDAR. So that did set us back a little bit, but we learned a lot more about what we should get from the sensor and how the data should be interpreted by our Arduino system.
I think, yes, go ahead, Winston.
Thinking about where we are right now and minimizing the amount of devices that we have, was it ever a thought to actually just put sensors within a stick, like instead of having additional devices?
So I think I can speak to that a little bit. So part of that innovation that I speak to that we've learned from St. Joseph's would actually be partially and potentially to move away from that belt model and to instead focus in on individual sensor units with a motor that comes with them that could be put on a person's side individually that could work without any use of an internal belt or other external technologies to communicate with them.
Also, just to add on that real quick, like the center of body is also pretty important, so that you can't see certain things behind you, maybe if it was in the stick. Also, we don't want to interfere with any of the actions that would be with the walking cane, because that's super important. It's still very effective, but we want that to be supplementary, so anything that would distract them, like vibrations in the cane, could be detrimental to them navigating.
I'd like to recommend that you look at a Brooklyn-based company called WearWorks that has a haptic device that they were able to have an individual run the New York City Marathon. So I think there's some other competitive things that you could learn what those companies have been doing as well.
Yeah, we did come across them on our research, and the haptic research that they've done is pretty groundbreaking. But I think they are more of a generally haptics company, and we're very specialized to this specific device. But we also would be interested in using some money maybe to outsource specific aspects of our device and maybe do research, so we would happily work with them. But I think our niche and keeping our costs down is what makes us more effective than some of those bigger companies.
Is there time?
Catherine?
Can you say a little bit more about your go-to-market strategy? You mentioned pharmacies, online retailers, but how are you actually going to reach those?
So initially, we would like to, we have friends over at St. Joseph's School for the Blind, and we would like to do a soft launch when we have like the earliest model out that we think is ready to go to market, and then leveraging maybe those relationships with schools for testing. And we would like to spend money marketing with using relationships with social media influencers, and maybe giving them access to the belt, having them test it, and maybe getting feedback that way and reaching our audience that way, as well as maybe leveraging future relationships with like Walgreens and some other chains like Acme, CVS, and things of those nature.
Okay, we're out of time. All right. Thanks very much. Congratulations.
Thank you for your time.
Judges, get your scores in if you haven't. And next up is 10X. Come on out, 10X. And while they do so, Judith, I'm going to put you on the spot really to give you an opportunity to share with people, if they're not aware, what are the research grants, AKA free money available from the state? And keep it short because I yell at them for time, but just, I think a lot of people don't know about these programs.
So the Commission on Science, Innovation, Technology has seed grants ranging from $75,000 up to $250,000 to do research projects, in particular technology sectors, and we also have a $40,000 grant that lets companies access specialized equipment at places like Stevens and other New Jersey universities to help, again, offset costs.
And people can learn more at?
www.njeda.gov/CSIT.
Great, thank you. Whenever you're ready.
We didn't get an applause, though.
You know what? He's right. Students are a little spicy this year.
Had to make it a little fun.
Whenever you're ready, if that's okay.
Now it's okay. I'm good now. Hello, I'm Nick DeMeglia with my colleagues Shady Camel, and sitting right there, Rohit Jayhas. We're the inventors of 10X, a software app promising to change life for millions of people suffering from tinnitus. We'll start with a little fun exercise. Judges, you're included. Raise your hand if you ever heard a ringing in your ear. Now keep that hand up if you found it enjoyable. Yeah, I might as well just told you to put your hand down. That's crazy if you kept your hand up. But that leads us to the next point. For those of you lucky enough not to know, tinnitus is a condition in which you hear a perceived head noise, like the ringing I mentioned. But it's not just something that's annoying. It can be absolutely debilitating. A multitude of studies has shown that people with tinnitus are nearly twice as likely to experience depressive symptoms or even suicidal ideation. 10X software provides a patentable sound generation methodology that an audiologist can use to tune to the individual's condition to greatly suppress this perceived head noise. Furthermore, it's able to work with off-the-shelf bone conduction headphones. But now I know you're going to ask, does it actually work? Yes. With an audiologist, we tested it on a handful of people with tinnitus, and each of them has told us they had near instantaneous and substantial relief from their head noise. One person even told us it was the first time she had relief like that in nearly 30 years. This treatment has the potential to be the first time that many of the 25 million Americans suffering from tinnitus have a shot at on-demand and non-invasive relief. With that, I'll pass off to Shady to discuss a little bit more about how it works and the massive market potential that lies ahead.
Thank you, Nick. The initial target market segment is the 1 million individuals who suffer from chronic constant tonal tinnitus. Our software reduces or eliminates common tinnitus frequencies across that patient segment. We generate synthetic tones that resonate in the brain with mathematically unique, modulated digital signals, and our competitors have had little success here. Their approach is to either drown out the head noise with masking noise or use impractical and invasive gear, such as electrodes. We generate synthetic tones that resonate in the brain, and such as electrodes. That's why we believe that 10X will be readily embraced by audiologists and their tinnitus patients through our outreach into the American Academy of Audiology and the American Tinnitus Association. Once approved for general use, we forecast 3-year cumulative sales of over 300,000 units and $41 million in revenues at a 65% gross margin. Our priority is launching in America and building our presence, our market share, and developing our methods to further help hundreds of millions of tinnitus sufferers around the world, easily placing us in a potential billion-dollar trajectory. I will now pass it back to Nick to explain the business model strategy.
Thanks, Shady. We're very passionate about the human-centric mission of making tinnitus treatable around the world. That's why we're asking for $150,000 in charitable donations to start a 501c3 entity with a charter to drive development and adoption of our technology through licensing agreements and partnerships. We'd also welcome any expression of interest from the judges in launching a commercial venture to further accelerate the product development and the FDA approval for 10X as a Class 2 medical device. We are ready to help millions of people with tinnitus. Please, join us, and let's make it happen together.
Vivek.
So one of the questions, where do you see your biggest challenge or risk in market adoption or technical? And I'm not talking about FDA approvals and all.
Right.
So either technical or market adoption. Where's the biggest risk, and how do you plan to mitigate that?
I think the biggest risk at hand is how individualized tinnitus is. One person can hear a high-pitched noise, someone else can hear a low-pitched noise, someone can hear a chirping. It's very all over the place. The ringing is just one example. So the actual technical challenge of being able to accommodate all of this is kind of why we're narrowing and having a conservative estimate of our beachhead market to be a subset of people that have our type that we're looking for of constant tonal tinnitus, where it is that just set ringing. And to mitigate it, the profit that we bring in from this first round of targeting that beachhead could be used to further research how do we more effectively treat people with more unique kinds of tinnitus. Because it is a huge technical challenge. That's why it's still unsolved. But we do think that we have a method that surpasses any current competition because of the people we've tried. They've all said it works for them, even though they've had varying ranges of tinnitus. And yeah, I think that sums it up.
So you target a specific...
Yes. We're targeting the most debilitating group of tinnitus sufferers first. And they generally, half of them will have about that constant tonal. And from there, we expand out into more regions of tinnitus.
So how easy is it for someone who already has one of those headsets to link it up with the software that you're providing? Or do you have to buy the headset and the software together as part of your go-to-market strategy?
So the beautiful part about our business model is that you can use it with any commercially available headset. If you have your own, you can go to your audiologist, have them tune it, and use that specifically. If you would like, then you can purchase another one specifically designed or have one specifically for that purpose. But ultimately, you can use whatever bone conduction headset you would like.
Davis, and then Juan, I'm coming to you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Who is your ultimate customer, or who pays for this? Is this audiologist? Is this the end user? And then how much you charge? And have you thought about recurring revenue models for this particular product?
Yeah. So the end user is currently the person paying. It's like, imagine a hearing aid, for instance. The end user is the one paying. But normally hearing aids aren't covered by insurance, and hearing aids cost $5 to $10 grand. Our device is off the shelf, and those can cost anywhere from $100 to $200. Our software right now in our model is a $110 one-time fee. The recurring model that we're considering would be potentially a $60 per year fee, but that would be more to funnel that development of we need to branch out to more tinnitus sufferers because we're currently targeting America and we're currently targeting debilitating tinnitus, and that leaves a lot of room to expand out from that small group.
Really quickly, like if you're saying there are people who are suffering this for the rest of their lives, you know, your one business model is $110 one-time fee, the other one is $60 a year. That could be 30 years going forward. So there's a big revenue difference. So why do you choose, or why have you thought about kind of licensing as the main revenue model rather than recurring? Because that will make your business more appealing for investors.
Of course, and that's why it's still in consideration, but a lot of our work comes down to the mission statement of treating tinnitus, and it goes back to being a 501c3 and pushing the mission more than the pocket in that sense. But it is definitely something we're considering because it might be necessary.
Right. Right, and so can you just talk a little bit about the decision of wanting to do this charitable 501(c) and then the commercial venture?
Sure, how much time do we have?
We've got about a minute.
All right, perfect. It's a big answer. So basically, again, I'll tie it. So the IP we want to tie to the 501(c)(3), make it the IP-based 501(c)(3). And that ties it to the mission of treating tinnitus and not to lining a stakeholder's pocket, for instance, where an EpiPen costs $30 to make, but they charged $800 for it. So we're kind of staging ourselves to avoid that kind of dilemma. Secondly, we're doing it so we can get an expert advisory council together of people that we wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. Current for-profit C-suite executives, practicing audiologists, the current lawyers, people like that can't be on for-profit boards because it's conflict of interest and illegal. So if we're not-for-profit for a cause, we're actually able to get these people and give us advice and push us forward. Third is fundraising. We're actually able to ask for money for the cause rather than just, hey, do you want equity of the company or try to flip a quick buck or something. This is something we really want to cement and do long term. And Shady has a little more about that.
Yeah, another reason we want to be a 501(c)(3 is standardization of the method. There's a lot of ways to apply our method, and we want to essentially be the IEEE in the tinnitus space. We would standardize those methods and build an authentic brand connection with audiologists in the community.
Aaron, a comment, not a question. So take some time and look into public benefit corporations, because what you're saying is a very difficult go-to market strategy for raising money and also bringing on employees that are going to add value. Those two concepts you're saying are not mutually exclusive. There are other ways, they're not common, but do look into public benefit corporations.
We definitely have been looking at it as an alternative as well.
Just 2 more seconds, but another recommendation, like you mentioned, you want to go with the most severe. I think you can charge a lot and just go after that, because if people are really suffering, you know, the money is not the main factor then.
And that's why there's a balance for-profit and the not-for-profit to keep that in check, in our opinion.
Good job. We're out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Can we clap these guys off like they deserve? And our last company, while we wait for the judges to score, please, is Pulse Pate or Pate IT. I'm not sure. It's a misspelling on here. I'm sorry. You can yell at Matt later. Pulse Parrot, apparently. They were yelling at me.
We got Pete the Parrot up there.
I can't see over there. Whenever you're ready.
Take a moment to imagine a small, fragile, premature baby, so small they can fit in the palm of your hand. Picture this baby living their first days of life in a bubble, tangled in wires and sensors, their parents watching anxiously from behind a glass wall, unable to hold them. With over 400,000 babies being born prematurely in the US each year, doctors need to monitor their rapidly changing vital signs to make life-saving decisions. However, current monitoring methods can make this intervention difficult due to the web of wires and adhesives, and make it difficult for parents to hold and connect with their precious newborn.
Through our partnership with Hackensack Meridian Health and an eye-opening visit to their neonatal intensive care unit, our team developed the Pulse Parrot, a small, wireless, non-invasive device that accurately measures your infant's vitals in less than a minute. Composed of a single sensor unit, similar in size to a smartwatch, and a disposable sterile strap, doctors and nurses simply place the Pulse Parrot on the infant's chest and secure it with a single step. The device will measure 4 key vitals: heart rate, respiratory rate, blood oxygen saturation, and temperature. The Pulse Parrot maintains 95% accuracy, all while going from 4 sensors to 1 and over 10 wires to 0.
With 1 in 10 newborns entering a US NICU each year, the cost for infant vital monitoring can reach $240 million each year just from disposable sensors. The Pulse Parrot can be reused over 10 times, which can decrease costs by $200 million annually. Because of this, the Pulse Parrot has the opportunity for future iterations to be used for at-home monitoring, just based on its simplicity and the savings. Those early days can be very stressful for new parents who now have the responsibility of a brand new fragile life. And the Pulse Parrot can help make this transition a little bit easier, which allows us to enter a $1.6 billion market.
We are asking for $500,000 in exchange for 10% equity in our company. This money will go towards large-scale FDA testing and in-house manufacturing. We will sell the Pulse Parrot for $1,000, and that will include the device itself plus 10 disposable straps. We expect to sell 1,200 units in the first 3 years to Northeastern hospitals, which will generate $1.8 million in revenue.
Let's go back and imagine that same premature baby. Now, they are free from the constraints of wires and instead have a single strap across their chest. It's easier for doctors to perform life-saving intervention, all while reducing hospital costs and medical waste. And, most importantly, parents can now hold and connect with their precious newborn. We are honored to be building the future of streamlined neonatal monitoring by pairing 4 sensors into one life-saving device, the Pulse Parrot. Thank you.
Ozzy, go ahead.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Quick question. So this is like a sensor integration play, right? You're going to develop this. So once you go to market, I would imagine this is going to attract a lot of attention from those established behemoth companies that do this really well. How do you expect to compete when that happens? Differentiate yourself and defend your market?
So we are actively working with the tech transfer office here at Stevens to establish both a patent for the actual sensor and device, and then a copyright for the code. So that way we will make sure that we have all of our intellectual property protected. We also have the differentiation in our device coming from our non-obvious methods of measuring the vital signs, and we're measuring these vital signs in multiple ways, with multiple sensors within the one device to ensure speed and accuracy, but also to further differentiate our device. And then in terms of competing, right now where we are at in terms of planning our business, we're also open to partnering with these companies. And if they can help us scale and grow, we would be interested in licensing our technology in the future if that would give us a competitive edge. But we know that the technology, especially once we have it protected, which we're actively working with Stevens to do so, will allow us to be differentiated within this market. Thank you.
Catherine.
Yeah. Could you say, maybe you touched on it, I wasn't clear, but in this partnership that you have with Hackensack Medical, how many babies have you actually, I mean, have you applied this to, and what's, and how many, or doctors or nurses that you've worked with on this, and what was the feedback?
So our partnership with Hackensack Meridian comes from working with a neonatologist there. That's how we learned to understand what the problem was in the NICU, and that helped us shape our solution. We unfortunately are not able to test our device on neonates right now. It would be very difficult to convince a parent who's already stressed out about their infant in the NICU to then let us strap this new device on them and see what could happen. That being said, we have received a lot of support from the neonatologist that we're working with, Dr. Marwa Khalil, who emphasized that she wanted to test the device on infants, and naturally we had to turn that opportunity down. But in the future, we would like to have this opportunity to test it on neonates to, again, prove the concept and then move forward with our device.
So along market adoption, like you mentioned, this is a newborn baby. For a new in a way, a new technique or a new device, how will you overcome the challenge of that acceptance? You know, if as a parent, newborn, you're highly, highly sensitive, right? It's not about cost so much, and so how do you plan to overcome this challenge of market adoption?
I can take this again. So I was actually just speaking with an FDA regulation specialist today, and something that he expressed with me is because our device is non-invasive and it's simply placed on the infant, in moving forward with wanting to test, there would actually be some enthusiasm with that, because you're not really doing anything to the infant in terms of collecting the data. You're simply placing it on their chest and it'll start to collect data. So one of the initial things that we can do is, while they're collecting those vitals using the gold standard, such as an EKG, we could also place our device on there to compare the results that we're getting from the EKG, and then moving forward, hopefully by building that trust, eventually you remove the EKG, and just use the Pulse Parrot.
Can you talk a little bit, if any of you are planning to take this project forward after graduation and set up a company to go through some of the additional work that you've outlined as being required to bring it to fruition?
Absolutely. So this has been our main topic of discussion the past few weeks. And one thing that we've decided is we're all extremely passionate about this project. We know the potential that it has and how it can impact so many lives. So we all still want to be involved within some capacity. We've been working with the Stevens Tech Transfer Office in terms of filing for the patent, and our goal in that is to protect this. One thing we've been talking actively with the biomedical engineering department is to also have this continue to be a senior design project so we can bring on a whole new set of students with new ideas to keep developing this. Right now, we don't think that we're in the spot to develop the startup as it is, but we all still want to be involved and want to push it along the best we can through leveraging the resources that we've developed at Stevens with the Tech Transfer Office and the Senior Design Program.
So I'd like to just make a comment. The NJEDA, which is a sister agency to the Commission on Science, Innovation, Technology, is going to be launching their second cohort of Innovation Fellows, which is for brand new teams who have not yet started a company to get up to $400,000 in terms of income replacement to actually start a company. You need a team of 3. So take a look at it on the NJEDA website, not only for this team, but for any of the other teams who would like to pursue their projects.
Winston.
Great presentation. You said that you have not been able to test this on children, but you said you had a 95% accuracy. Can you please talk to that? How is that happening?
So we were not able to test this on neonates, but we were able to test on ourselves. So we basically assumed the position of a neonate. We laid on the ground or on a table, and we put this on our own chest, and we recorded data. So we were able to collect data in this way, assuming that there are a lot of physiological similarities between us and a neonate. We believe that this will still be a good fit.
I was just going to add quickly, when we were collecting data as well, we did ensure that we had a gold standard to measure our values concurrently. So we use a PPG, and we had a pulse oximeter to measure our heart rate and our blood oxygen saturation as well, and then we did that for the respiratory rate and the temperature. And when we did our statistical analysis, we used a confidence interval of 95%, and all of them fit that level. We obviously would hope to up that accuracy rate as we continue to develop and use higher quality sensors.
That is our time. Good job, thank you very much. And that is our last pitch for this session. Thank you very much. So judges, if you can get your final scores in, what that means is we are about to narrow it down to our winners. While the scores are tabulated, again, I want to reiterate, a lot of you probably aren't aware of many of the funding programs that the state has to offer. It's free money. It's a little bit painful to get, but it doesn't take any equity, so highly recommend you check out those programs, especially the, SSBC and a few others that Judith had mentioned. And many of the teams today stumbled. I want to remind you all, don't beat yourself up about that. That's very common to the practice. Practice will get you out of that, that experience, but don't be too hard on yourself on that. With that, Matt, are all the scores in? You may not have the answers yet, but you're tabulating. Great. All right. I can make an announcement that out of the original, first, you should be aware there were 125 original teams narrowed down today to the top 6 finalists. So can we give first just a round of applause for the top 6? Unfortunately, as goes in contests, some people don't make it all the way through. So I have a list of the 3 companies who will not, unfortunately, be making it to the top 3. So, without further ado, these companies will not be advancing to the top 3. In no particular order. Almost read the wrong ones. That would have been a big bummer. Personal guide belt, soft exosuit for patients with spinal muscular atrophy, SESMA 2.0, and OTT load balancer. But a big round of applause for them. They did a fantastic job. Congratulations on making it this far. I know this is a fine institution and you are now able to deduce the top 3, and please join me on stage in no particular order. Neezy Does It, Tin X, and Pulse Parrot. Judges, while they make their way up here, any comments on feedback for pitch style, things that you saw kind of universally maybe interesting or where people could improve?
Well, first of all, great passion. All ideas, mission had a lot of depth. At least I felt so amazing, just amazing. Where I think you commented, the flow of pitch has to come more from the heart. They've done it too many times. I think it was a bit rehearsed. That's all.
Agreed. Davis, you see a lot of pitches. Any feedback on, we often talk about there's two elements to the pitch, the ability to communicate the idea and the idea itself. On the ability to communicate the idea, any feedback for any of the participants?
First of all, thank you so much. Great projects all over the place. Super cool ideas, and I love how you were able to deliver both the problem, the solution, what's kind of your plan and how to execute all of it. You have a proper go-to-market strategy. You've really thought about all of the aspects that a startup really have to think about. So big round of applause for all of the startups here.
So I want to turn to the teams, and I know you've been working very hard on this. If each of you perhaps could nominate one representative and just share a little bit about your experience and especially thank anyone who's been helpful in this journey. Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so we'd like to thank the one who gave us the idea for this project, which is Joe Casino. He's a physical therapist in the Atlantic PT Network, and he's also been our main connection for references and information that we needed. So I'd like to say thank you to him. And all of our great professors at Stevens, Dr. Popolo, our senior design professor. So yeah, thank you guys.
Go ahead.
I was really trying to make sure I don't forget we have quite a list of professors to thank. But Dr. Harari for psychoacoustics, Dr. M for electronics, Douglas Neary, sitting right there, for all our business guidance. Who else?
McConnell.
Dr. McConnell for neurology.
And Lou.
And Professor Lou for computer engineering. It's been a crazy journey, but they were so helpful in making this possible, and this has been a great experience because of them. So thank you to all of you.
So we first have to thank our BME advisor, Dr. Shady, and the entire BME office for their continued support. We would also like to thank our advisors, Dr. Khalil, and everyone at Hackensack Meridian Health. Also, our IDE professor, Ryan Ona, has been such a huge motivation and help, especially in the business side of everything. And also just a thank you to all of our parents, family, and friends who have supported us through the emotional highs and lows of going through this process.
Aaron?
All right. Oh, yes, go ahead.
Just one quick observation, right? So, and this is true across all the teams that were up here. Folks stumbled, they had pauses, and it was just incredible to see how you picked one another up and brought calmness and just forward momentum to the presentation. And as founding teams, right, that's such an incredible quality. It was so clear that you had one another's backs, and it was just fantastic to watch it in real time. Thank you.
Yeah. It's a team sport. Well done. I believe I have the winners. Yes, I do. First, I don't know what we're pointing at, but we're going to thank the judges, if we could, one more time. I also want to thank Matt Wade and Sandra Fernback. We've had a very strong partnership in this. I know you both worked tirelessly behind the scenes to put this event together, so again, a big round of applause for Matt Wade and Sandra who make this possible here. And Nariman, if you could come up on stage while we give away some giant checks. So, can we get like a little drum roll situation happening on the knees maybe? In third place, among the 125 teams that started this competition. Come on, give me some love. In third place is Pulse Parrot. Congratulations. So, that leaves the two of you, but we are out of time, so I'm so sorry about that. So give me some love on the drum beat again. The winner of this year's Ansary Entrepreneurship Competition is Neezy Does It. And also a big round of applause for the runners-up, 10X. Congratulations, Neezy Does It. And how about a big round of applause for 10X coming as the runner-up? Awesome. I believe that's the end of the show, so thank you all very much for coming. Again, congratulations to all of the student competitions. We are headed over to Bobbio for a reception. I hope you will all join us just across the way. Thanks again for joining us today. Congratulations.
And let's thank Aaron again.